Desk to Dumbbell 5 Micromotion Biohacks for Real Fitness Gains. She sat at her desk, shoulders tight, scrolling through fitness programs she'd never finish. Her coffee had gone cold, her back ached, and somewhere inside, a quiet voice asked, "When did moving become this hard?" Like most of us, she didn't need another workout plan. She needed permission to start small, to believe that 5 minutes could matter, that her body hadn't given up on her, even if she'd given up on it. But what happened next changed everything. It started with a single breath, not a deep one, just longer than usual. She inhaled, held it, and felt something shift, not in her lungs, but in her mind. For the first time in months, she wasn't planning fitness. She was feeling it. Researchers at Stanford found something similar. When micro movements replace grand ambitions, the brain stops resisting. It leans in, because small doesn't feel threatening. Small feels possible. She stood up, rolled her shoulders back, sat down again. That was it. That was the first biohack. And she laughed, realizing progress didn't always look like progress. Part of her still doubted it could work. How could 30 seconds of shoulder rolls compete with a CrossFit class? How could stretching her wrists between emails compare to lifting weights? But her body answered before her mind could argue. Her neck loosened, her breath deepened, her energy didn't spike, it stabilized. That's the trap we fall into. We think fitness has to hurt to count. That transformation requires suffering. But the truth is quieter, more forgiving. Real change happens in the margins, in the micro moments we overlook because they don't feel heroic enough to matter. She thought she was done until that moment. It was a Tuesday afternoon, 3 weeks later. She'd been doing her micro movements without thinking about them. Shoulder rolls during calls, ankle circles while reading emails, wrist stretches before typing. Nothing dramatic, nothing Instagram-worthy, just small repeated acts of self-care woven into her existing routine. Then she noticed something. Her back didn't ache at the end of the day. Her posture had shifted without forcing it. Her energy curve had flattened. No more crashes at 3 p.m., no more relying on caffeine to stay functional. She hadn't changed her diet, hadn't signed up for a gym, hadn't overhauled her life. She just started moving like a human again. But there was still one thing she couldn't explain. Why did it feel easier now than when she'd tried before? She'd done yoga challenges, morning runs, evening circuits. She'd downloaded apps, hired trainers, bought equipment. All of it faded within weeks. But these micro movements stuck. They didn't demand willpower. They didn't require motivation. They just happened naturally, like breathing. That's when she learned the second biohack. Anchor fitness to something you already do. Every time she waited for her computer to load, she did calf raises. Every time she brewed coffee, she did wall push-ups. Every time she stood to stretch, she added a twist. She wasn't creating new habits. She was layering movement into the rhythm of her day. And her brain didn't resist because it didn't feel like change, it felt like continuation. Neuroscientists call this habit stacking. The brain loves patterns. It craves predictability. When you attach a new behavior to an existing trigger, you bypass the resistance that kills most routines before they start. You don't need discipline, you need design. She smiled, realizing she'd been fighting herself all along. Sometimes we only understand strength when it's tested. Her test came on a morning she woke up exhausted, deadlines looming, sleep disrupted, stress creeping into her chest like fog. She sat at her desk and for the first time in weeks, she didn't feel like moving. The old voice returned. "What's the point? This isn't real exercise. You're just fooling yourself." But her body remembered. Her muscles had a memory now. And before she could talk herself out of it, she rolled her shoulders, stretched her neck, pressed her palms together and held. 30 seconds, that's all it took to interrupt the spiral. That's the third biohack. Micro movements reset your nervous system faster than you think. When stress floods your body, it activates the sympathetic nervous system. Fight or flight. Your heart rate spikes. Your muscles tense. Your brain narrows its focus to survival. But movement, even gentle movement, flips the switch. It activates the parasympathetic system. Rest and repair. It tells your body, we're safe, we're okay, we can breathe. She wasn't just moving her body. She was regulating her nervous system. And the more she did it, the faster she recovered. From stress, from fatigue, from the weight of everything she carried but couldn't name. What surprised me most wasn't just how resistance bands improved my experience with micro movements, but how everything started to feel different once I switched to the right method. I wasn't expecting such a clear change, and honestly, I tested it more than a few times before I figured out what really worked. This isn't a promotion, just sharing real results that made a noticeable difference for me. I'll leave the link below if you want to explore what I mean. But the real shift happened when she stopped measuring progress in pounds or miles. She used to weigh herself every morning, used to count steps, calories, minutes, used to compare her body to others, her effort to their highlight reels. It exhausted her, made fitness feel like failure, made movement feel like punishment. Then she asked herself a different question. How do I feel? Not how do I look, not how much did I do, just how do I feel? And the answer surprised her. She felt lighter, not thinner, lighter. Like her body wasn't something to fix, but something to inhabit. Like movement wasn't a chore, but a conversation. Like strength didn't mean pushing harder, but listening better. That's the fourth biohack. Redefine your metrics. Forget aesthetics. Forget performance. Focus on sensation. Can you sit longer without discomfort? Can you breathe deeper? Can you move through your day without thinking about pain? Those are the real gains, the ones that last, the ones that change your relationship with your body from transactional to transformational. She laughed again, softer this time, because she finally understood. Fitness wasn't something she had to achieve. It was something she got to practice. But she wasn't perfect. She missed days, skipped movements, got distracted, overwhelmed, busy, and every time, the same fear crept in. I've ruined it. I'll have to start over. I've failed again. Then came the fifth biohack. There is no starting over. Every moment is a continuation. Every breath is a fresh start. You don't lose progress because you paused. You don't fail because you rested. Your body doesn't forget how to move just because you stopped for a while. It remembers. It adapts. It waits for you, patiently, without judgment. So she stopped apologizing, stopped bargaining with herself, stopped waiting for Monday or January or the perfect moment. She just moved, a little, often, honestly. And somewhere between the failures and the quiet mornings, she found rhythm and peace. Researchers in Finland studied this phenomenon. People who exercised in small, frequent bursts throughout the day had better metabolic health, lower stress markers, and higher life satisfaction than those who did single, intense workouts. Not because intensity doesn't matter, but because consistency does. And consistency doesn't come from force, it comes from friction reduction, from making movement so easy, so integrated, so natural, that skipping it feels harder than doing it. She wasn't training for a marathon. She was training for a life where her body felt like home. What would you do in that moment? When she looked in the mirror again, it wasn't her reflection that had changed. It was what she believed about herself. She wasn't broken. She wasn't behind. She wasn't failing at fitness. She was simply alive, moving, adapting, growing. One breath, one stretch, one micro moment at a time. And maybe that's the real biohack, believing you're worth the smallest acts of care. Because transformation doesn't announce itself. It whispers, it accumulates. It shows up in the way you stand a little taller, breathe a little easier, carry yourself a little differently through the world. Not because you conquered something, but because you honored something, your body, your limits, your capacity to begin again. This isn't medical advice. It's not a prescription. It's just one person's story, a reminder that fitness doesn't have to be extreme to be effective, that real gains don't always look like gains, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is the smallest thing, repeated, consistently, with kindness. Tell us what part of this story resonated most and where you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.